This is my first camera. The camera I wish I never purchased, the Canon EOS M200. Possibly the least loved camera from Canon, no EVF options, no mic jack, discontinued lens mount, APS-C sensor, cropped 4K, noise in full light, no 24 FPS, bad flippy screen, no third-party cages, and the list goes on. I fell for the marketing. It was the perfect camera for vlogging and creators. In reality, it was barely better than a phone and was a stripped down version of its sibling, the EOS M50. I used it for a couple of years. I learned a lot through its limitations, the importance of lighting, framing, and audio. Great audio is more important than great visuals. I also learned about focal lengths through these two budget zoom lenses, the EFM mount kit lens and the 55 to 200 millimeter. The 55 to 200 millimeter sparked something in my brain. The 55 millimeter of this lens just looked better. I didn't know why, I just knew it did. I shot everything and anything in 55 millimeters. Eventually, I attended my first 24 hours of Daytona with my trusty kit, the EOS M200, 15 to 45 millimeter, 55 to 200 millimeter, and GoPro Hero 7 White. I took some of the best photos and videos that I've ever taken up until that point. But then I got home, admired my fantastic work, and some of the photos were smeared? Add that to the list. Rolling shutter. This was a nail in the coffin for this camera, and I eventually purchased my second camera later that year, the EOS M6 Mark II. Not to be confused with the R6 Mark II, the M6 Mark II is the flagship of the EOS M lineup. 33 megapixels, uncropped 4K, better flippy screen, tons of physical buttons, and a lot less rolling shutter. Still, crop sensor and photocentric, this camera was everything I thought I needed for the rest of my life. And it was for a while. I brought it to my second ever 24 hours of Daytona. It absolutely blew me away, even with my cheap zoom lenses. I filmed a ton of videos with it, brought it on every outing, brought it to Europe. I grew a lot with this camera, and I will always love this camera for that. The quality of its stills at its form factor and price are unmatched. I paid $540 for it from Canon refurbished, and it's been worth a lot more. However, its video capabilities left a lot to be desired. Just like the rest of the EFM mount cameras, its video capabilities are reflective of the years they're from. After my trip to Europe, I was inspired. I met a jack-of-all-trades camera guy working at a convention I went to in Switzerland. He was using a Sony A9 and brought a lot of other instruments for video. After this, I ordered some lenses, a cage, and some other things. I pushed the capabilities of my camera and eventually considered getting an external recorder. I desired 10-bit video, more dynamic range, and the ability to color grade. But an external recorder would cost more than the camera. I would also lose the compact form factor. What about the R50? It's the same camera but 10-bit, but the RF mount is kind of lacking. Since I'm serious about the investment, I could get one of the Blackmagic 6Ks. The FX3 is amazing for the... I ended up buying the Sony FX3, Sigma Art 24-70, and all the extras I needed for now. Quite the leap in price from what I was originally planning to spend. If you're at all familiar with the more quality and creative side of YouTube that's been on the rise in the past year, you'd know how I ended up here. Gas, camera envy, and the desire to make art. I've also always wanted a FX3 or a 7S III, so this purchase was inevitable. What's in the cards for me are paying off this kit, so freelance work, and my creative work. Make what I want.